and you have to invest personal capital. And in our case, it means stepping away from that job that's paying the bills and using your savings to fund your venture forward into being professional authors. And we made partnerships, and we took some risks, and we agreed maybe to write more books than we thought we could possibly write. But it paid off. And now here we are 4 years later, 5 years after that decision point, because we're like at year 10 now together as a partnership. And things are busier and crazier than ever.
And it's still growing. What people don't realize is that, they don't know the struggle they don't care about the struggle that you went through to get to where you're at. They only care about where you're at. Yeah. And that's and I find that being a business owner, and everybody I talk to, it's 15 years of struggle, and everybody thinks it's overnight success.
Yeah.
Because you guys, before you got together, you were doing your own stuff. And then they got together and they did it for what I'm hearing 5 years, and then 10 years later. So it takes a while to build a brand, to build everything that you're trying to do. And there's many times it gets torn down or something changes all the way through, and you have to redo that. And I don't think people understand that. But the positive thing is, being from the military background, they make some of the best business owners. 50% of vets are business owners.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. And people don't understand that. What you learn in the military helps you in business.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think, Brian was talking about that 5-year mark. It was true for us in writing, just on the creative side, just as much as any other business. The difference, what happens at that 5-year mark is you have, like Brian was saying, you decide, do I go all in? Well, the difference between veterans and some other demographic in our society is they're more likely to say, yeah, I'm all in. I'll take that risk. I mean, there is a risk, right? So, I mean, you write one book a year, you can supplement your income, but you need to really be all in. You talked about brand building. That's right. That's a full-time job. And I think some people get to the point where they say, I could take this chance and maybe it'll work out, but I don't have the stones for that. I'm not going to do that. I can't risk it. And so there's probably plenty of people out there in our business who could have been just as successful as us, but they doubted it, or they just weren't willing to take that chance. We were lucky that it worked out. I mean, maybe it wouldn't have, and then that'd have been really bad, I guess.
But. Yeah, and I think we also talked about this at the time that happened. We're both married, and both of our spouses absolutely said to us, like, no way, individually, my wife came to me, she's like, no way I'm letting you step away from this now. You're so close. Yeah. And, as a dad and a husband, and especially if you're the primary breadwinner, to say, well, I'm going to step away from this security and this job that provides cash flow for my family and stability to maybe go on this flyer that may or may not work because I want to be a famous book writer. Like, does that, I think the responsible person, especially the guy with discipline and honor and all the integrity and all that stuff, from your military standpoint, you're like, this is not the responsible decision to make. And the fact that my wife was like, absolutely not. I've supported you this long, and I'm going to support you longer. And when she said that, I remember telling Jeff, I'm all in. And he's like, I had practically the same conversation last night myself. And so having that mandate from our spouses, that was like the adrenaline shot that we powered us into the next phase of the career.